Have you ever turned on the TV and seen an ad for the next fad diet? It seems like they're becoming more and more common as the years go on. I'm sure you've heard of the Atkins diet, or maybe the Weight Watchers diet, or maybe even carnivore. These are all diets designed to supposedly help you lose weight and maintain a quality of life. But how do you really know what diet is best for you? Hi, I'm Ryan, and look, it's no secret, there are a lot of chubby bumpkins out there. While some of us do like a little extra to grab onto, it can lead to some negative health effects, like being dead. Obesity is a crisis. Chronic illness is on the rise, and it's all related. So if you're someone out there who's looking to just shed a few pounds or better their quality of life, how do you know what diet is best for you? Some fads are just plain bonkers. Yes, I said bonkers. Luckily, I've composed a list of 10 fad diets you need to avoid, and why. Yes, why focus on making healthy meals, cooking, and cleaning when you could simply inject yourself with ravenous tapeworms? See, at the turn of the 20th century, they didn't know as much as we did about diet, nutrition, and even the gut biome. But what they did know is that putting tapeworms in your body made you lose weight. So what they did is they put it in a pill form for you to ingest for dietary purposes. I mean, it sounds pretty simple. What could go wrong with that? Well, when the tapeworms began to grow 25 feet in length inside your intestine, that kind of became a problem. It began causing seizures, meningitis, even dementia. And then when you started developing cysts on your brain, eyes, and spinal cord, that got really funky. That's when the US government stepped in and said, you know what, maybe tapeworms aren't the best for your gut. And I can agree, don't do it. Okay, maybe tapeworms weren't the best way to go, so what do you do next? Restricting calories can be really difficult for some people, so how are we going to be able to fill that void without filling that void with calories? I know, you eat cotton balls. Yes, this was a real thing, and in fact, it continues to this day. Feeling hungry? Pop a cotton ball. They're low calorie, non-nutrient anything, and they taste like nothing. The good news is they are bite-sized and completely organic if you want them to be.
But I don't eat those.
Now obviously I'm kidding during this, but I can't believe that at one point in history, even today, people are still consuming cotton balls to prevent gaining weight. Not the right way to do it, and I highly don't suggest this.
Oh.
Okay, so let's take a trip back in time to the good old 1930s when science was really beginning to take off. When it came to weight loss, if you couldn't melt off your fat, believe it or not, you could wash it off. Yes, this is science. Kinda, not really. With products like Fat Oh No and Fat Off, all you had to do was scrub right through the skin layer and get that fat right at the source. Just make sure you don't use sandpaper. Though, at the end of the day, when everybody found out these products were actually just hand soaps, let's just say that fad died pretty hard. Have you ever felt heavier by a swamp or a body of water? It's not just in your head. That's because back in 1927, a guy by the name of Thomas Short discovered that fat people happen to live near swamps. In fact, he even wrote an article about it called The Causes and Effects of Copulence, which deduced that the only reason people could not lose weight was because they lived next to a swamp. Remember, this is science. So what do? Move away from a swamp, a body of water. If there's water near you, get the hell away from it. I think it's time we drain the swamp. So smoking isn't really a fad anymore. However, it has been used for many years and still being used in different cultures to lose weight. Mainly because the act of smoking simply suppresses your appetite. Have you ever noticed how generally high smoking populations aren't overweight? Sure, they may look good except for, their gums, their teeth, their tongue, and lots of other things. But hey, on the outside, looking sharp. It's a no-brainer. Okay, don't smoke. This is one of the fad diets, especially that went on during the 60s and 70s and 50s, that I think completely is out the window. From smoking to drinking, we get to the drinking man or woman's diet. Yes, I'm keeping it 2020, and look, I love red meat. And what does red meat pair really well with? Wine. Have a steak, wash it down with a martini. Doesn't matter, all you have to do is drink alcohol. That's what this diet is all about. Alcohol is required at every meal, no restrictions. In fact, this was one of the first low carbohydrate diets that developed back in the 1960s. A guy by the name of Robert Cameron actually wrote a pamphlet about this, and within a year he had passed out 2 million copies. A bestseller, even though it was completely debunked by the Harvard School of Medicine. People don't generally listen to that stuff, but I'm going to tell you to do so. Though if you're still interested, you can still buy a Kindle edition for $3.99. That's a bargain. No, this doesn't require that you kidnap a young woman, put her in a castle, knock her unconscious, and then leave her there for dead. Where are you going to find a castle these days? However, the entire theme behind this diet is the fact that you can't eat when you're asleep. But sleeping, think about it. Can you eat and sleep at the same time? Sure, if you're a known sleepwalking foodie, then this diet is obviously not for you. But if you decide to sleep instead of eat, watch those pounds slide off. Now, I'm obviously joking a lot in this video, but there is something similar to the Sleeping Beauty diet, which I like to call intermittent fasting, which is basically where you take a 12-hour period and don't eat in that period every single day, and then you eat in the other 8-hour window of that day. Some people like to skip breakfast, some people like to eat only in the first 8 hours of the day and then not eat, but that's something that has come out of this, which actually is a diet that I use personally. Okay, Sleeping Beauty, wake up. It's time to go back to the 1820s, where a man named Lord Byron, who was accused of having anorexia and bulimia, developed a popular vinegar diet. As we always know, we should always take health advice from someone who currently has an eating disorder. His basic idea was you drink plenty of vinegar a day, 1 cup of tea, and 1 egg. You're bound to get every single nutrient that you need if you are in fact an inanimate object that doesn't need nutrients. Thank you, Lord Byron. I don't know why anyone thought you were insane. This one is a kicker. In 1830, a guy by the name I cannot pronounce, Sylvester Graham, oh I did it, was a Presbyterian minister and a known vegetarian. But this diet actually has nothing to do really with vegetables. You see, he thought people were becoming more and more obese because they were having too much sex. I know. That's right, although his diet of abstinence and vegetables didn't last very long, he's still known as the grandfather of graham crackers because I have no idea why that is in there at all. At this point in the video, I kind of want to ask you a question. Do you like painting, specifically blue, or like looking up at the sky for long durations of time? Well, good news, blue is a natural appetite suppressant. Apparently. So if you want to eat less, simply wear blue glasses all the time and pretend your life is a 3D animated movie. Because everyone loves those. I'd like to say I've left the best for last. In 1903, a man by the name of Horace Fletcher became known as the Great Masticator after he achieved this stunning 40-pound weight loss. Pretty impressive. So what was his motivation? Being denied healthcare. This is something that I think a lot of us can relate to right now when healthcare is such a hot topic of debate. So to combat this, his secret to losing weight was simply to chew gum, but not just any gum or in any shape or fashion. No, you need to chew every piece 32 times and then spit out the remains. You may say that he was a little bit OCD, but I say visionary. In fact, the diet's motto was so catchy, it's kind of hard to imagine that it didn't last longer. Nature will castigate those who don't masticate. It's pretty good. Look, at the end of the day, all of these fad diets coming from different times in history and different places and religions, etc., they all have one thing in common. They're stupid, based on stupid ideas wrapped in a woven blanket of why did I bother reading this? So how do you really know what the best diet is for you? Well, I can tell you, if you want to avoid being a laughingstock, don't do any of these. If you really want to boost your nutrition, focus on the basics. Go back to real food and exercise. But if you would like to know more, I've recently just gotten my nutrition certification, so you can feel free to hit me up on my Instagram at Ryan Mitchell Brown. I'd be happy to sit down with you and do a consultation and help you find out what is the best next move for you. And I hope to see you all in the next video.